and I, it's probably a little glitchy. Hold on, let me get near the Wi-Fi again. But hello, yes, Bentley Pasco and I just got back from visiting Jason again up on Whidbey Island. So we had to wait for the ferry traffic, and we were filming fish and talking fish, and ran into another fellow fish tuber on the island, and all that good stuff. So Bentley Pasco's channel will probably have some video, and Jason's Redfish Bluefish probably has some video, all that. Sorry I'm late. I set the stream, and then when I tried to like bump it ahead 15 minutes knowing the car was later than I thought, because I set it for 5:37, it wouldn't let me. I don't know why. It just either skipped to 6 or to the 5:30 time. But in any case, I'm here, you're here, we're here, and get used to it. So, how is everybody doing? Good to see everybody in here. I need to get the little gimbal in a moment. 503 Aquatics, thank you so much. Right out the gates with the super chat. Boom, thank you so much. Appreciate it. I feel like there is another super sticker hiding somewhere, and it's not showing up on my stuff, so that's annoying, but I know that it happened, and I'm thanking whoever you are, but that's weird that it's not showing up. Also weird, I just had the gimbal that I need, but we'll get that in a moment, and then everyone can stop feeling seasick, and we'll get settled. So today, of course, if you have any questions about the upcoming contest, the aquascaping contest, feel free to ask. If you have any questions about your fish, about the universe, I'll attempt to answer them. The universe, I don't know how good of an answer I've got for anything on that. But your fish, the odds are good that the odds are good that the goods are odd for what I'll give you. So yeah, what in the heck? Where did it go? I'm so lost and confused. Oh, there it is. I found it. It's with my Dr. Pepper, of course. Bentley tweeted that we were on a road trip, and or that he was, and my Dr. Pepper is in the what do you call it? The drink holder, and people called it in his members only feed. People called it right off the bat. They were like, "Where's Alex?" Like they knew that it wasn't his Dr. Pepper. I thought that was kind of funny. Am I that predictable? I guess. Another little funsy dunsy doodle. Check this out, peoples. So, this is for Lucas Brett's new poster, the Green Water Wizard. This is the original. So, you know, I've done some of his other artwork for his merch and so forth. But, you can see color is so screwy on live streams. But that is going to be up shortly in his merch section. Oddly enough, I never seem to make these things for myself. I always make them for other channels and other people. But maybe someday. I do have merch, like hoodies and stuff. And, oops, come on. You guys don't need to look at my big fat belly. But right now, all the proceeds are just going to a charity. And I'm actually really wanting to think of a new charity. Piaba I've given to a bunch of times now, and Running River, the Rainbow Fish Program I've given to. Also, I've given to Northwest groups that do conservation with salmon, as well as removing dams and building fish ladders. That's another one that I've given to several times already. So if you guys have any good recommendations of nonprofit organizations that you would suggest, I donate that, plus the money from the video, the Voldemort of videos that will not remain nameless. Yeah. So also I thought about it. I know that the algorithm will favor my videos more if I put more ads on them. I was told this by a more prolific or a more famous YouTuber than I, who does know about that stuff. And I'm not going to do it. I don't like them. So it's staying the way it is. But that one video has as many ads as I could put on it. So there's that. So that's the one exception. So that's some of the house cleaning stuff. What else is going on? What's going on? Who's in here today? We got T-Bone. What's going on, buddy? We got Tim. It's me. What's up? S. Jamie Lee. Rico. What's up, Rick? Here, Fishy. Tasha. Takari. What's up? Muppet. Shannon. What's up? Kate. Yo. We got lots of great people in here. Trevor, Aim, Spirit Fish, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Ray, let's see, who else is in here? Steven, Vinoski's Tanks, what's up? Fishroom Fever, what's going on, buddy? Yeah, I know this isn't my normal time either. I have no idea if I trampled over somebody, but I hope I didn't. Or if I did, I hope it was a light trampling. But I just decided that I needed to still go live with you guys. Literally, Bentley picked me up at 8 a.m. and we hit the ferry, trying to hit the 9 o'clock ferry. We didn't get on till the 10:30 ferry. It comes every 20 minutes, so that was just like, And then we hung out with Jason up at his fish store and chatted fish and nerded out about fish and plants for a while. But that's neither here nor there. What I want to do is see what you want to talk about. I feel like chat is like maybe not accurate. Hold on. I feel like I've got live chat. Oh, I was right. I knew y'all were talking more than it was showing up. Jay Oliver, what's going on? Good to see you. Dragon Lair, good to see you. Also, want to give big credit to Dragon Lair for the tip that actually kind of fueled that last video. I pinned that also at the bottom, but Patrick also put that in our Facebook group. So you guys miss out on some cool stuff in the Facebook group, including y'all one another's tanks sometimes. But the video on fish not having their genetic... Okay, so their genetics are tied to their gender, but they're not tied to their chromosome specifically. So the Y chromosome is not necessary to make a male in fish. You can have an XX male or an XY chromosome male in bettas now, and some other fish too. But specifically domestic bettas is where they're really seeing it and what the study was on. So if anybody has any questions on that, I mean, we can definitely cover that too. Oh, Peplin Creek, $1.99 super chat also, or sticker, whatever. It's all the same. Love it. Thank you. Oh, and geez, now it looks like why I see numbers going up on the number counter, but nothing's showing up on my screen. Maybe it's just delayed. So we'll see here. We'll give it 1 second. Hopefully I'll see what in the heck happened. Shelby, what's going on? Hello. Zen Ginger, hey, how are you? Michael, hey, how are you? Hey, hi, howdy there. Bryce, how's it going? Let's see. For vacation, would blackworms be a fair food to use to keep fish from getting hungry? Enough to eat fry. Yeah, so blackworms are great. The blackworms, there's one issue amongst several, but the biggest issue with blackworms is frequently they get infested with parasites. So you want to make sure you really clean them well before you use them, for one. There's just other nematodes and things that can get in there, and a lot of times they're kept in really kind of gnarly sewage or compost, but sometimes actual sewage, like animal waste, dung and stuff mixed in with where they're living on farms that raise them. It just depends on the farm. But if you can get them, yes, clean them well. And if you can put them in the substrate, then it will help somewhat. If you have very voracious fish, they're going to eat them all as quick as they can, like in a day or two. No matter how many you put in, they're probably going to do that. But like Corydoras, for instance, if you've got a nice deep substrate, you can put the blackworms in, and say you had 6 or 7 Corydoras in a 20 long or something, you could definitely put like an ounce or two of blackworms in the water. At night they're most active, but in the day they'll search and they'll go deep under as quick as they can. At night, they kind of come up out of their hole and they kind of look around and like feel around, and then that's when the cories will sift through stuff. Now, it will cause your fish to sift through things more, which can kick up more mulm, and in theory, that could kick up more bacteria, just algae and fungi and things like that that's down latent in the substrate. But if it's an ongoing thing, like you feed them blackworms a lot, or you gravel vac that tank, if it's a tank that you have been gravel vacuuming, because if you know my stance on gravel vacuuming, it's that you either do it above the actual substrate and just kind of get loose leaf debris and extra food, basically, or and dead fish or anything like that, and not actually like dig into there and suck up all the good bacteria that's colonized those surface areas. Unless you have a tank that's so shallow that the substrate is not helping filter. If the substrate's made out of marbles or just a thin layer of sand or rocks, then you can gravel vac it all you want, and it's not going to matter because it's not part of that active nitrogen breaking down system that we have here. Let's see here. I'm still not seeing what is going on here. I saw the money go up. The money went up. And it says I have no super chats. What happened? What is going on? Near, far. Where is my super chat? Let's see here. I did not pick Alishan. Hello. I did not pick anything up at Jason's. I resisted temptation. I just went to chat with Bentley. Bentley and I wanted to nerd out about plants, and I didn't want to work in the garden today. Again, go figure. And I put it off another day successfully. I don't think my wife's super happy about that, but she's out going back to the bar and restaurant scene for the first time since the whole COVID thing. So she's out and happy. Yeah, she's out and happy. Let's see here. Morgan, a Facebook group, question mark. I'm going to join now. Well, please do. Let's see. The Facebook group's called The Secret History Living in Your Aquarium, I believe. It might be your aquarium's secret history. There's also an Instagram page that's not super, nothing super crucial's ever on there, really. But Muppet posted a link of the Facebook group. So there's that. Also, Mary, I hear you relayed my message because you messaged me and then so on and so forth. Thank you so much for letting people know that I'm a degenerate. Let's see here. And I mean that in the most sincere way about me being late. Geek Boy, what's up? Okay, Takari, so someone gave me a $10 super chat, and I can't see who. I hope it loads in a minute. But Alex, my Pandagara flavata died after like 3 days after shipping. My tank is overloaded with algae and biofilm. I thought he would do great. I have 0.5 parts per million with ammonia. Am I doing something wrong? Yeah, the problem there is that you have ammonia. They're really sensitive to ammonia. While they do love algae and biofilm and things to graze on like that, the ammonia or even high nitrates with any hillstream species, and I'd consider that, butterfly loaches, hillstream loach, some of the danios, rainbow fish, a lot of little like twig and stick catfish, pseudomagills, they all are very, very, very sensitive to nitrates being over, 80 parts per million, as well as the ammonia should just be 0, like even 0.5 or even 0.25. If you see any ammonia at all, that is enough to stress and kill, especially during shipping some of those species, unfortunately. So that is a bummer. I'm sorry to hear that. But yeah, that would be my suggestion. More water changes. And if you're getting ammonia, it means either the plants are breaking down or something died or you put a lot of food in and that's all broken down. And now your nitrogen cycle isn't keeping up. Or it could mean that your nitrogen cycle has kind of come undone and you kind of need to ease everything back. Don't feed anything for a while. The light is going to help break things down. CO2 helps break things or helps use the nutrients in the water. But really, water changes are going to be what you want to hit it with first to kind of get that under control. Like a 50 to 70% water change wouldn't be a bad idea right out the gates. And then from there on, maybe every 3 days do a water change, or every 2 days until it gets more normal. So that is my advice on that one. Oh, hey, T-Bone, another $5 super chat. Thank you so much. I got a hype hippo. I like that. He's going. Digging it. Digging it. Let's see here. Canestio Valley cichlids, the point of no return. When you degenerate. Alex, $10 was from the Chubby Guppy. Oh, right on. Thank you so much, Tim. I really appreciate that, man. Was there a question or a comment or anything? Oh, a hippo sticker. Okay. Oh, and now it loads. Okay, great. Thank you guys for keeping my head screwed on like I needed. Mr. Gromby, what's going on? Peeps Lost Sheep, Monster Fish Girl. Oh, we got so many lovely, beautiful, wonderful people in here. Oh, it makes me so happy. I'm so happy. Let's see here. Okay, so let's see. Do we have any other questions? If you have a question for me, use like Stephanie Snow did here. The Secret History Living in Your Aquarium, or at Alex, I'll see sometimes too. Member questions stay up longer for me in the like slow chat or super chat or not super chat, top chat. The live chat is just chaos for everyone, but yeah, so those things can help. The members stay longer and they're highlighted, and then if you use the @ sign, it also will highlight. So between those two things, those are two little tricks, but you don't need, you're not required to. It's just if you want it seen, that those things help. But she asks, my beautiful marbled angelfish died suddenly after eating jumbo bloodworms while spawning eggs. She got bloated and lethargic. Any tips? I mean, I guess I would ask have you fed bloodworms to this fish before? If you have and there's no problem, then that is kind of odd. If it's a normal amount you fed and all that. Now, if this was kind of a special treat to bulk her up because she was spawning and whatnot, you can give too much protein to certain fish, including angelfish, and bind their stomachs up a bit. They're used to eating a diverse smattering of microcrustaceans, actual crustaceans, little fish, bits and pieces of algae, and bits and pieces of dead things, just everything. They're cichlids. They'll eat a little bit of everything. And sometimes when they eat something that's so uniform and that can be compact down, like bloodworms or blackworms or things like that, it's too much and it can get bound up in them and they can actually get blocked up and have stomach issues. Now, that being said, that's usually from feeding over and over and over that way. I would maybe just check your pH, or sorry, not your pH, your nitrates and your ammonia and all that. There's also an off chance, depending on which brand, where you got them and all that, that the worms went bad. I've never had that kill fish, but I've had it smell horrendous, like rot. And in my head, it just seems like that might be something to investigate. But it could also be a coincidence. It could just be stress, that she was having babies, and then all of a sudden, boom, it was too much for her. So it's going to be kind of hard to know because there were a lot of variables going on. But those are kind of the things at play, I would say, that I would check out without knowing other stuff about your tank. But if that doesn't help you at all and you want to add more info, you can comment again or comment afterwards, and maybe I can go back and forth after the video loads later too. So we'll see. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't know what in the heck is going on with this stream. Alec, welcome. I like seeing someone with a similar name. Now we will have to fight to the death. It's a sad day, but it's how it goes. Let's see here. Thanks for the links on the betta research. Was only aware of some of it. Oh, right on. Yeah. Oh, and hey, Big Tank Hank, what's going on? And Survival of the Fishiest, what's going on? Oh no, you lost all the thread fins from Aquatic Arts. What happened? Was there any nitrates in the water? They are fragile sometimes. That's the thing with those. Same with like rice fish. Same with neocaradinas. They can be the hardiest fish once they're settled in. But if they're not settled in yet, if they've been in shipping, if they're stressed, if anything's off, same with gouramis, like powder blue gouramis or powder blue dwarf gouramis or opal gouramis. Just notorious, and rams are another one. Notorious for like not being settled yet, any little thing being off, and they just wig out and half or all of them die or whatever. And then if any make it, they'll make it through the apocalypse. Like slowly, anything can go wrong. But that's a bummer to hear. I'm sorry to hear about that. Yes, T-Bone, I saw that you renewed your membership. And I think it gave you like the credit for the old like amount of months, hopefully on the little picture. I mean, if it matters to you at all, but I appreciate it. I do. Evan Nolan, always a good mental health pick-me-up reading this channel's chat. Well, good. I know. We try to stay pretty fairly positive here and a little bit crazy. I hope those things are compatible with one another. Takari Endo says, the secret history, thanks. Any thoughts on zebra babalti, like breeding and care? I have two Malayan babalti, and I'm really trying to breed them because they're cool. Will they interbreed? So... Not a ton is known about the babaltis, like the purple and pink ones, as far as like proper husbandry. We know the parameters you'll see when you buy them generally. Sure, that will keep them alive, but they are very, very prone to dying. So I know for a fact, and Aquatic Arts isn't shy about it. I mean, they'll be straight up with their customers, me. You know, they've told me that when they bring those in, at times they've had losses of like 80%. So what they had done is tried to bring them in and then breed them because they lose so many in shipping that it's just, one, it's not fair to the animals, and two, it's not economically viable. But they're one of those species that's kind of, a lot of people honestly import them, and they're only like $3 or $4 is what they should be selling for. But routinely I see them for $15 to $20 because so many die in shipping, or because they need to be bred in the US and that costs a lot more, and they're slow breeders. They're slower than even like caradinas are usually. Like they're slower than like say a King Kong or a Pinto or something like that. They are also smaller too. But that being said, if you've got very low TDS, that's a good thing. Very, very low nitrates and nitrites, obviously, almost zero. And then, you know, I think a well-established tank always helps. But in the case of them, they kind of like algae a bit too. So you don't want a tank that's so old that the algae doesn't really get a foothold. You want one that's like an aquascape that had a carpet and is like 2 years old now would be like an ideal tank for zebra babaltis that are the purple kind. Now there's several other zebra babaltis. The wild zebra babaltis that are just straight black and gray and white kind of stripes, those are more hardy. It's the color morphs like the pink and purple that tend to not be. And some of them, I don't know the truth if they're really wild caught or if it's or what's going on there. Because I've seen wild caught, not any place that I deal with a lot, but I've seen it say wild caught on them, and they have the purple kind, but then I've also been told that they are a domestic line that was specialized from the wild line. Now that being said, yes, there are individuals, just like blue shrimp or blue lobsters, just like blue dreams. Blue dreams aren't a wild line, they're a man-made line, but yes, once in a while blue ones occur out in nature. The same's kind of true with the purple and pink, I think. Like they're morphs that do occur in those zebra babaltis, but there are also a number of zebra babalti species that are, I mean, they're Caridina babalti, and it gets confusing because the genetics are not there. So the shrimp industry is like so not transparent, very opaque when it comes to what is going on with genetics. They keep everything a secret as long as they can. Like if disco shrimp or I don't know, Siriu 2 or someone is making some sort of new line, they keep it secret and then they get, you know, the top dollar, especially in Asia and stuff. We don't usually even see it until it's after that phase. But specifically in Japan, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Thailand, Singapore, and a little bit Germany and Czech Republic, Prague, Berlin, they get that kind of cutting edge stuff, but it's kind of a secret, kind of like flower horns are as well, and or even plecos, like some bristlenose plecos. So in that sense, it makes it tricky to know what exactly is going on with the genetics, because sometimes they'll say totally bogus things just to throw everyone off, which yeah, it doesn't help us figure anything out in the hobby. All right, let's see here. What's up, Alyssa? Let me get the chat. I have to like click reload each time. Detroit Shrimp and Aquatics, welcome. Let's see here. I'm working kind of my way backwards and around. How do you breed color into your ramshorn snails? Do they just multiply until one comes out yellow? Yeah, here, let's go take a look at mine real quick. So there's some prominent morphs in the community already. And the most prominent you're going to find are going to be the albino flesh. So you've got two main things you're dealing with. You're dealing with the flesh, and in this case, this is albino. Up here, this would be more leucistic. It's hard to tell on film, but it's more of a yellowy pink or peach color rather than this like neon pink fuchsia. And the neon pink fuchsia is when you can just see straight blood through there. It also looks more blood red in darker light. And then the outside of the shell is also another gene. So you've got two phenotypes and at least a handful of genotypes at work. So like that's the white shell up there. Here is the gold shell on the albino or pink body. So what I would do to do that is I would take something from all these pink bodies, and I got these from a random mutation that started more like this soft of a pink, and then it kind of slowly, I just kept selecting the individuals. This tank's been going for 5 years now. 5 years, yeah. And then I selected for the white shells. So after I stopped worrying about the flesh, I started selecting for shells. Some people do it the other way. In here, I've got leopard print ones with the same albino. In here, I've got stripes. They've got like white and then light brown and then white again. And then yet again, if we look, let's see, where else? Where have we got more that are a different kind? I've got a whole bunch of just different ones in different tanks. I kind of just move them all around. Oh, down there we've got kind of the wild type, which are the dark brown with the kind of bronze spots on it, and then the brownish to grayish body. But yeah, so you want to select when you see one. So say you had a bunch of babies and you see one and it finally has some pink on it, like this pink gold. Then you would set that aside, pull that aside, and you can then, if you don't have another pink gold, obviously, you're going to want to find something, maybe your lightest brown one, or just another one that has gold if you know you want gold. And then you're probably going to get gold shells if they both have gold shells. The genetics of these guys is really kind of odd. And it's not predictable in the Punnett square way, I guess, in that you don't just get whatever. Let's see, there's more up here too. You don't just get whatever you mix together like paints. Like up here, we've got clear with the brown foot. So you got the flesh color, you got the shell color, and then you got a pattern. And the most dominant color seems to be a brown, and then second most common color in the hobby seems to be kind of this metallic bronze that comes as spots or sometimes as kind of a general wash over everything. But in here, I've got the brown, or actually, sorry, the blue body. They call this blue. It's more of like a purplish gray. And then what I was doing was I was trying to get that purplish gray out of these bronzy brown ones and get them by mixing them with some albino white-shelled ones that way. Now, that being said, I'm working with two different variables, and that makes things a pain in the butt. Whereas ideally, if you can get yourself a line that has, you know, the one trait that you're really looking for, like this one's got leopard print and lines on it, but if I didn't care about the flesh, then it'd be really easy to work with this one and say, let's get some pink flesh ram's horns, and they would just, you know, that would be a pretty good chance that even in one generation you'd have that pattern on the pink. Like it would just kind of be half and half. They just kind of mix. Half the babies would be one way, half would be the other. They don't, the babies tend to be a mix. Like, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. The babies tend to be a mix of half of one parent, half of the other. Sometimes they're a quarter of half of each parent, and then sometimes they're like there's 4 kinds born all at once. So I know that's a little bit confusing. Like there's another brown one back there. It doesn't have a red foot. It's got the blue foot gene. I don't like necessarily the brown with the blue foot, but I'm keeping it because of that blue foot gene that it has. I'll be able to cross it back with one of the other ones at some point in the future. I'll be able to cross it back with maybe the gold gene. I mean, they're in there together, so it's a possibility. But they kind of explode when they do start spawning. I mean, that's just kind of the nature of snails, you know, like mystery snails. Look how big this mystery snail is now, guys. He is huge. I mean, for comparison, he's probably bigger than any strawberry, that's for sure. And then these are the Turkana tetras that Danny and Kenny brought me, and they're little babies, but they've already started scaring the rams in this tank. So I need to get them their own setup. I think I'm going to put them in a 10-gallon just for now. Oh, the haplochromis are popping out to say hi. So I had a terrible thing happen here. The haplochromis all got a terrible case of ick and clamp fins, and 2 died on me. And my mustard plecos, or mustard synodontis, sorry guys, which it's actually a good sign that they're hiding now. They were so sick that they were just laying out in the open, but they've gone back into hiding. It looks like all 4 or 5 have. Sorry guys, I know that's really close and blurry. I'll stop doing that. But yeah, so they're getting better. All I did was I saw ick on them. I didn't do ick X. I did a 90% water change, and then all new water, and then I turned the temperature up to 87 degrees. Pretty darn hot. It may have even been the heat that killed the second of the 2 haplos, but it really needed it. Now pretty much all the ick spots are gone off everybody. There's a little bit of the biofilm you can see on their coat. Has like a light white kind of opal color to it, or milky color to it, and that's not great. It's still in recovery. So, and they're still kind of that one's going spastic. But they are getting better. I mean, they're getting spunkier. Their eyes aren't milky or covered with dots or anything. I mean, it was bad. I took a picture. It happened overnight too, like literally within 24 hours. And I took a picture that I can share in the community tab or on Facebook. But man, it was really scary. It looked like they were zombies. Like they looked like they were rotting. I was so worried about them. And these are the ones that, of course, don't have a scientific name. They're new to science, and Lawrence just hooked me up with 8 of them. and of course to die under my care. I feel like a total idiot, but we did reverse it rather than have them all die, which is good. But you can see they're eating at pretty good clip, even just flake food. This was kind of a test to see if they are going to eat. And then we've got the cribs still in here. The cribs are still acting a bit sluggish. They're kind of a barometer fish for me because I know how cribs should behave. See that? He's also got some ammonia burn on his gills, which he's an albino, so it's real easy to see. You see that redness on there, and actually there's some yellow, what we call plaques, which is where the fin, or the skin I should say, and scales have gotten thick, and the mucus has gotten thick right by the gill plates, by the, what is that, the peduncle? Wait. In any case, I can't remember the name. I'm spacing on the name of the gill covers. But he's doing better too, and the fins aren't as clamped anymore, so that's good. But what that redness on the gills would indicate to me is that when those two fish died, even though I got them out, even in that quick amount of time, we probably did get some of the ammonia. The other thing is, these fish are totally remodeling. They apparently hate my taste in plants because they've ripped everything out. See, it's all getting stuck to the filter. And you can see this stuff is breaking down. That's floating water lettuce that is looking like skin floating around. And that is breaking down. It's making carbonic acid, it's making tannic acid, and it's making nitric acid and urea and all sorts of other things like plants do. Now, a little bit of that is fine, a little bit of that is good, but these guys need to stay near neutral, so I need to be taking out some of that debris. So that's another thing I can do to kind of help them rebound from the issue. Now, the other warning about that can happen to anybody really easily is, so you get a new fish and you put it in a tank, it's all healthy, you quarantine it even. Those ones were on their own other than some tetras that they promptly ate and some cories. I knew the cories and tetras were fine, but I wanted them on their own, even though I trusted that they were clean from who I got them from. He's a master fish breeder and collector, Lawrence Kent. He discovered them in Africa. And then I moved the mustard Synodontis, which are 3 years old. They've never had any health problems. They were in with guppies. Guppies have no problems. Synodontis had no problems. Put them together, turns out Synodontis must have had some problems, or the Haplochromis had some problems. One of them had problems, gave it to each other. They both had ick, within 48 hours of being together. And so when you combine, especially bigger fish that don't have scales, so like a catfish that is a scaleless catfish that doesn't have armor either, especially, the Synodontis are very, very prone. They almost have more like a shark skin, and they're just very prone to the skin issues, the fungus, the bacteria, the gill flukes, things like that. Whereas Corydoras at the bottom of the tank, none of them were even in the remotest amount sick. Sorry guys, I know we're moving and grooving, shaking and baking here. Shake and bake. All right, let's get back to the questions, Alex. Shut your mouth. Let's see here. Dev, what's going on? Carol Ann, what's up? Alex, I test my water parameters every 3 months. Is that okay, or should I do it more regularly, like once a month? You should do it daily, T-Bone. Honestly, that's a really hard question to say. I have certain tanks where I feel like there's a lot that changes or it has changed recently. I will test those tanks sometimes every day or two. Other tanks, like the big one in here, I haven't tested it since I set it up, and I'll go 6 months as long as nobody's dying, and just kind of feel it out and just... I'll change the water. I'm not one of the people who just changes water once I start seeing problems. Some people do that. And it's one way to do it, but it's kind of a risky way to do things. So I try to change the water before there's any issues, And then it has to be up to you. I would say it all has to do with, how many new fish have you added? You know, if I get a bunch of new stuff from Aquatic Arts, you better believe I'm testing my tanks before I put the fish in, just so I know that it's within their realm. If it's anything at all that needs other than just, you know, if it just needs neutral-ish, like 6.5 to 7.5 water, then no, I won't test every tank. But I oftentimes will test all my tanks or all my community tanks, and I'll think, okay, which one's going to be best for this fish that I just bought? Because sometimes you impulse buy, when you have this many tanks, you know, sometimes you impulse buy, you know, you're like, oh, I got 27 tanks, I can bring that home and figure out a tank for it later. Well, a lot of times I do that by doing the water test. And so that kind of dictates when I do my water tests is how often I buy things and stuff. We have an Alexa and an Alec in here. Right on. It's good to have both of you. Regina Phalanges, what's up? Okay. Alex, I have a male fireman's dream flower horn, and I put him in with my female Vieja Cynispilum. If that breeding happens, it's like one in a great number of odds and a super unique fit. Yeah, that would be. You know, I've just started brushing up on flower horns more. I got into them when, like, what was it, the monkey? There were a bunch of different monkey names, but in any case, when flower horns were relatively new in the late 90s, early 2000s, when they were first starting to make public scene, is when I was kind of looking at them and like, wow, these are kind of funky fish, you know, what's going on here? And then I kind of lost track of them. And so recently I've started filling it back in now that we have all the DNA evidence. But before, it just felt like an endless cycle of like, you don't know because the breeders weren't telling anybody the right information of what they mixed together. But now that we know that, it is pretty inspiring to know that we can figure out what are in these hybrid fish, you know, and then reverse engineer that as well. Oh, thanks, T-Bone. You said you're worth the membership. I appreciate that, my friend. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Northwest Aqua Hobby. Right on. Yeah, chatted with, it was Will, right? Yeah, chatted with him in person today. Good to see you in the chat. Right on. I went to college with his brother of Small World, and so kind of fun to run into somebody that I knew that way, and then it lives on the island where Jason's got his fish store. It's just, it's a small world after all. So I appreciate that, and thanks for joining us, buddy. Who else is hopping in here? What am I missing? What have I done? Yeah, there's a lot of names coming through here today. We're busy today. It's good to see everybody though. And I hope everybody's doing well. Zebra, black, gray. Okay, you're talking about the. All right, renew chat. Oh, Dev, what's up? $5 super chat. I appreciate that greatly. Ordering some Episto Borelli opals from the wet spot. Live on the East Coast. Hopefully shipping goes smooth. Yeah, check out redfishbluefish.shop too. He's got a bunch of Epistos, and he's got some Borellis. I think he's got some opal Borellis for that matter. I think they were $14.99 or $13.99, but they're really high quality European ones. They're from lines over there. Peep Sheep says, got a 75 planted tank with chili rasbora, dwarf cories, cherry shrimp, and coolies. Thoughts for a nano that swims mid-water to put in there as well? Definitely. Yeah, that's a great tank. I love Phoenix rasboras. I love Kubota rasboras, the little green ones. You could also do more like a nice big school of the Axelrodi Sunda Danios. Sunda, named after the island, Sunda Dario Danios. And those are also known as neon blue or neon green rasboras. Very small fish, like a Phoenix or strawberry or harlequin. Well, smaller than a harlequin rasbora or chili rasbora, I should say. But beautiful. They look really good in low light. They look really good in tannic water if you've got like leaf litter and stuff in there, which all those animals would really like. The cherry shrimp need a little bit of hardness. Okay, so dwarf cories. Okay, so they're at the bottom. They're mixing things up. The shrimp, okay, they should get along. The coolies will be hiding, and they'll kind of go up and down on the glass. So I would say you could get also, you know, another great one because it's a 75-gallon tank. You got room. I mean, you could throw a lot of different things in. I would say that celestial pearl danios are a beautiful fish. You could get Sabua splendens, or that is the rummy nose rasbora, not the rummy nose tetra. You could do those too, I suppose. They get a little big for your group of what's chilling in your tank. They might eat some of the baby shrimp, and they also might pick on the chili rasboras just a little bit. But the rummy nose rasbora with the orange rummy nose and the silver blue body, beautiful fish, lives in the same water as some of those fish that you've got there already. A pandagara actually relatively peaceful and would get along probably all right. Borneo spotted loach, awesome choice. It'll go up the glass, it'll go on the rocks, whatever. If you want a schooling fish, my absolute recommendation would be the Tin Winnie Danio or the Gold Ring Danio. They're awesome. The Danio Chopra or the Glow Light Danio, another good one. A Hatchet Danio is another good one that hangs out at the top. You could do some marbled hatchet fish. I mean, you've got a lot of options to go with. The clown killie or even honeygouramis. Honeygouramis, yes, they will eat some shrimp, but generally they stay right at the top. And so there's that. You know what? I've got a fish that's going wild. Fish gone wild going on in the tank. What is going on? He is so colored up. Oh my goodness. You guys probably can't see this, but he's got red on him that is so bright red. I thought he was bleeding. Let's see if he'll come up. Look at that red on the belly of that tail. Look at you. What a looker. I'll have to get a still shot of him later. He must be showing off for some lady in here. Let's see. We got the leopard frogs hanging out in their caves. So it's not them that he cares about. I don't know. It's the Nanochromis that's going buck wild. He might be showing off for this guy. Poor confused creature, if that's the case. If he's showing off for the reticulated algae eater or Siamese algae eater, that would be unfortunate. Oh wait, no, that's probably what he's showing off for right there. There we go. But look at that. Can you guys make that out? I mean, the red is just out of this world magenta red color on the tail there. And on the anal fin too. And that's actually how you sex Nanochromis, is the caudal fin has red stripes on it. But I mean, that whole anal fin is just like fuchsia. I haven't seen that quite that bright before. Okay. Moving back to chat, I feel like I'm missing super chats. And also, look, somebody feels left out. My Nanochromis transvestitis are feeling left out. This is the female. Again, transvestitis, they got the name because the females are more colorful, like males usually would be in most Nanochromis, or cichlid in general species. But yes, so this would be the female, and the male is poking up right here and kind of swirling around. So let's get back to the chat. Michelle Kinsey, thank you so much for that super chat. Nirvana Aquatics, also, thanks for becoming a supporter. I appreciate that greatly. T-Bone, thanks again. Just for being you, Alex, a walking fish encyclopedia. I love the knowledge you bring to us. Well, that is very kind of you. I do appreciate that greatly. And Dev with the Shiba Inu saying number one. Okay, very adorable, very adorable. I have to hand it to my my viewers. You guys are awesome. I love y'all. You guys make me smile. 5 gallons of duckweed to a free to a good home. Yeah, that is for sure. You know, another thing that I was gonna say is that's just really awesome and fascinating is that while I was doing the research on the last video, oh, here's the female. I was like, what is he showing off for? The female is hiding right in here. That's why he's circling this corner. I don't know why. He's so shy, though. He's so gun shy. I might need to just give them their own tank. Sometimes if you can't get a species to breed, it's time to just lock them up in like a 5-gallon with some sand at the bottom and one Java fern and just say, like, figure it out until you make babies. Maybe throw some leaf litter in there for them. And a cave. They definitely would appreciate a cave. Most cichlids would. Although, we were just up at Jason's, and his apistos were spawning without his McMaster and his Triliniatus. Both were spawning on the glass without anything. Just on gravel, glass in the corner, or sand and glass in the corner. Oh, the research. So while I was researching the history of how we understand sex and gender in fish, as well as betta breeding, it turns out betta breeding. So I've given an answer that I feel like I don't know if it's the right answer, but it's the answer I was giving. Now we have a new answer, and there will be a video on this, and it should be a fun one. But the answer I used to always give when people would ask, well, how old are bettas? How long have bettas been bred? Well, we knew that they'd been used for fighting, as well as good luck, and as well as like mosquito and pest control for water pests in rice fields and in just like jugs by the door, kind of in open lanai style, if that makes sense. I know that's a Hawaiian word, but if you understand what I mean, like an open screen porch or a courtyard, that's very popular in Southeast Asia. Different cultures have different takes on it. But kind of that open courtyard, and there might be a food garden or some fruit trees in the center, and then some building around it. Well, to keep the insects at bay, oftentimes there'd be a fountain or a pond, and there'd be fish in there, and they'd eat the mosquito larvae and stuff like that. So we knew that the gouramis, paradise fish, and snakeheads, carp, obviously, which koi, carp, and goldfish, which all kind of are one and the same kind of, not really at all. I should do an episode breaking that down too. But evolutionarily speaking, the wild carp, there are a few that could have been used and then narrowed down into our modern koi, which are different from the goldfish, but they branch off at a certain point. And then there are also goldfish that get as big as koi that people often call koi, but they're really goldfish or carp, more traditional, like golden carp sense carp. But whatever, that's a tangent for a different day. We're talking about the bettas, and that is that we didn't know whether they were just a wild fish that was mean, kind of like the old myths about piranhas. We used to think that they were so mean. Now we know they're not really that much worse than any other fish. In fact, there are much meaner fish in the Amazon and Central America, Haiti. That cichlid is real mean. The Haitian cichlid, the black one. Or green terrors or red devils or whatever, there's lots of different fish that wolf cichlids are real mean. Dove eyes, So we thought that maybe they just fought wild ones that they caught, and that they'd keep fighting the ones that were successful. Well, now there's actual evidence that they were being bred for profit, and genetic evidence. So there's not just anecdotal evidence in that there's some old Buddhist texts that say at least 750 years ago, they just found out that it says basically the Buddhist temple of, it was a temple complex in Cambodia somewhere. It wasn't Angkor Wat, but something similar. Big temple complex, big society at the time, big civilization, I should say, a big metropolis. And they had a decree, no more fighting fish, no more betta fighting, because it was leading to murders, assaults, drunkenness, gambling, all that kind of stuff. And so it was no more breeding them at all either. So that kind of gave us the context that, okay, they're not just like scooping up wild ones and doing it. There's also really interesting new developments in that the fish fighting is coming back really strong in the last year. There's reports of Thai, Laotian, Cambodian, and Bangladeshi soldiers in particular. I don't know why it's popular amongst the military. It was saying in a couple different articles, but I guess in the military you can become high status even in an impoverished country sometimes, like Laos or something. And so these high-ranking military officers, it said, were very commonly breeding and fighting the fish, or the locals would breed them. The officers would come on the weekends, buy a fish for 50 cents to $2 American, and bet up to 500 US dollars on a fight to the death with the fish. And then they throw out both fish. There's no recovery, and it's a champ and it fights again kind of thing. It's just that line. They say, oh, I want the sibling of that other one. It's going to do well. But the whole reason that this has sprung up, food and everything, it makes more sense to not compete with a food source like chickens, or dogs even for that matter, to be using them for that. But it turns out that because they've had so many culls of the chickens in Southeast Asia and China, that fish fighting is coming back with a vengeance. And it's really brutal and kind of sad in my opinion. I mean, we can always talk about that too, people's different thoughts on that, or the notion of cultural appropriation. Kevin, thank you so much. I see $2 super chat, my friend. Appreciate that. Kevin's Canines and Aquatics. But yeah, I mean, the bettas, I've kept 60 bettas. There's a video with 60 bettas all over an inch long in a 40 breeder that's planted. Males and females mixed together. Dogs and cats living in harmony. Oh, it was anarchy. No, it was fine. And then they sold them at the end. So it kind of just depends on how you're doing things. If you raise them to be fighting fish, if you keep them alone, if you give them a lot of live food, and that actually does increase the testosterone, they think, in most fish species. Some people do other stuff to make them bulk up with muscles. I mean, it gets really odd, in my opinion. Let's see here. What did I miss? What did I miss? Gotta take a look. Gotta take a... Oh, cribs. Let's see here. You know, you guys, I also just want to thank you. Thank you guys just for rocking, for being awesome, for being nerds with me, for liking. I mean, I know a lot of channels say fish nerds, but like if you're rocking with this channel, we're going into like the DSM RT1 gene, hopping from the Y chromosome like it's in a pan of oil and saying, peace out, I'm not going to determine gender no more on this chromosome. It's pretty nerdy. But I'm glad I'm not alone. Thank you guys. Thank you for following me down such rabbit holes. Oh, but the other thing about the bettas is they did mitochondrial DNA studies, which I also talked about in the last video. The mitochondrial DNA tells them about the mother's DNA rather than the father's DNA. You can go back multiple generations doing this. You can approximate the average rate of error copies going on. And they know that it's over 1,000 generations that they can see have been influenced in an artificial way. There's some clear indicators when things are like every generation is sister and brother, and then they'll notice, oh, the gene that expresses for bright red, or processing the ascotaxin pigment boosting chemicals, that is selected for in every single one for 500 generations or something. You're gonna know that humans were doing something funky with that. So did somebody ask where the transvestitis or transvestitis? Nanochromos transvestitis or transvestitis transvestitis, I think. Sounds like a disease when I say itis, though. Might be wrong. Anyways, the nanochromas, the trans nanochromas, we'll call them that. They're from not the actual rift lakes. I think they're from more of like a crater or river lake, and it's actually in Western Africa, like West Central in the Congo, and it's called in Ndombe, I think, a lake called Ndombe. Let's see here. Come on, chat. What is going on? Transvestitis. It is transvestitis. All right. Okay. Hey, Priscilla. Let's see here. So, what do you got for me, guys? Oh wait, a question. Nope, never mind. Nope, question for someone else. Swiss Aquatics, Priscilla, awesome stream, hugs, Priscilla. Good to see you. Thank you so much. You rock. I hope you're having a great day. Seriously. And I hope that eel wound gets better. Damn, girl, you're savage. You are a tough cookie. I am a crumbly cookie, and I would have gone. And then I probably would have made a big dramatic blog about how my eel tried to kill me, and had unagi. Christine Richardson, I'm outside Houston, Texas. Oh yeah, people dogfight here in Washington too. People are stupid everywhere. They're always busting rings of dogs and rooster fighting, usually out in the rural parts of the county in our state, but it goes on in the inner city too here. Let's see. Oh, dang. We got a $5 super chat from Christine Richardson, and nothing. You didn't say anything. I don't have to even make an announcement. You could have gotten some free advertising there. You could have said, Poopy McPooperson. And Christine is awesome and the best fish keeper ever in Texas. Twice over on a Memorial Day. I got a couple plants from Jason. I guess I forgot to mention that. He gave me some wisteria, some water wisteria. Gonna throw that in my tubs outside. And then he also gave me some, just the crowns, like maybe 2 inches, not even 2 inches, of Limnophilia hippodroids, which is like Limnophilia aromatica, but it has a gene that's a helical gene, which means it grows towards, let me start over. Alex, you're getting too excited about how a dumb plant spirals. Okay, so the plant, like pea vines or anything reaching for light, sunflowers, it grows on one side. So the side opposite the sun, the shady side, grows faster than the side in the sun, and it tilts it so that it rocks it. And then also it starts to slowly do this, slowly builds up, and as it stacks up, it stacks up and over, either clockwise or counterclockwise, depending on the plant. And it spins. And so, like, Ludwigia twister or corkscrew val. I've got metallic corkscrew val in the other room. But what ends up happening, if we take a look here, it does this kind of thing about. But you can kind of see how these spin around the center. They're staggered. Even rotalas and stuff do that. If we take a look at like a nice CO2 grown one, you'll see that they kind of twist in unison. Like they kind of stack off center and twist in unison. Maybe I'm growing the best plants right now. In fact, I'm not. I've got like some black, well, it's not even blackbeard algae. This is just this weird plant that gets black dots on it. I'm not convinced that this is a true aquatic plant. I've had it under here for 2 years, and it just never really flourishes. It kind of does that, and then there's another piece back there. But it is a Nacea. And the other one Here's the other piece. See, like that looks okay. That looks happy and peachy keen. But then the bottom looks like death. It's black and gross. So don't buy Nicaea, whatever it was. I'll have to think about what it was. Sensiflora, maybe? Nicaea Sensiflora, is that what it was? Are these ones doing it? Yeah, these ones kind of do it too. See how that kind of starts to twirl a little bit? Like when you see it, when you're looking at it from above, kind of? I don't know. Maybe you guys think I'm crazy. Well, I know you guys probably think I'm crazy, but maybe I'm making the case for that worse. I think that's what's happening. But I've also got Lucas Brett's corkscrew valve that he gave me years ago. And this stuff, I mean, if the haplochromis rip it up, I'm going to be a little bit sad that they killed it. But this stuff does the same thing. It grows, here, it grows with one side, so like the light is right above, it will grow on one side of this little ribbon. The one side of it grows farther. So when you see the top, it's always going to be at an angle like that. It's always going to be at a diagonal. Because it's growing up like a corkscrew kind of, hence the name corkscrew valve. But the cool thing about red metallic corkscrew valve is if it doesn't have enough nutrients, it doesn't turn just yellow and look gross. It actually turns like a really nice bronzy red. Trying to see if any of it's in here right now. I did just clean out this because I remember how I was saying, you shouldn't have a bunch of dumb decaying plants in here, Alex, you dum-dum. But yeah, there's some of the red. So it looks really nice, actually, as it's taking its last gasps for the nitrogen it needs. But this one is just it just broke off, is why it's turning red. They'll do that though if they don't get enough nitrogen. It can be really pretty. You can do it on purpose. Also, another update I figured I'd give you guys while I'm standing here. These guys are doing phenomenal. I need to clean the front glass, but the pea puffers, they've actually put the pea puffers in their place. Look, the pea puffers are back in the back now by the sponge filter. But the Praecox rainbow fish, working well with the pea puffers. Everybody's doing their thing. The pea puffers are still making their shell collection. I'm still feeding them a lot of ramshorn snails and pond snails and bladder snails and all snails. Also, the ick that was in here like months ago, still no sign of it again, which is good news. There's not a lot of critters in here though, period. So, I don't know. I guess I need to figure out some new fish for that. And that's, I mean, what a hard problem to have. Also, I moved a lot of them anyways. A lot of the least killifish, like this one here, she just had babies. Her belly's empty. Move those outside. Sorry guys, you probably can't see them. You probably just see the gimbal. But there's CPDs there, and then see with the black line, that's the least killifish. And right there's the least killifish. Oh, she's like swimming upside down trying to get at that little, let's see, what is she trying to get at? What are you getting at? I don't know what she's getting at. She might have an issue. They don't live super long. I'm curious now. We might take her outside too. But, oh yeah, here's some juvenile ones. Let's see if we can get the white behind them so we can kind of see the pattern. These are native to Florida. I wish the pattern would show up because it's actually really nice. It's stripes. They look like a little tiger. Like a little cutesy patootsy tiger. Whatever. Okay. I guess it's just not in the cards right now. We'll have to get another up-close video that's not on a live stream. But there's a lot of them, man. These least killies, if you buy these, yeah, they might be expensive somewhere because the permit to collect them, I'm not really sure what the status is, but it must be something screwy if they're this expensive. So many places, they're like 10 bucks. But they're so prolific. I think I've had over 40 born in a month. And they grow up in like a month on their own. It's nutty. Also, just to check in while we're over here, the gobies. Oh yes, the gobies. They're all doing good. My little micro dragons, they're wonderful. They've been eating scuds like the little demon spawn they are. Shrimp are all doing good in here with them. With the thread fins. Also the pleco, if you can see him. There's a Sultan pleco baby juvenile right under here. Doing good. Wasn't sure if he was going to be happy in this tank with them, but so far it works out well. And then also the golden amber bumblebee Burmese, if that's not enough adjectives. I don't know if you will ever have enough adjectives. Catfish, they hang out only in that corner, and I don't know what their major malfunction is. And again, the rams running for cover. They run to the hills every time I come to say hello. It's like they don't even love me. I don't know what's going on. Run to the hills. GRB, what's up? Lunar Bettas, what's up? Let's see here. Does anyone have good ditherfish options for wild bettas, specifically chinoids and Alabama marginata? I'll be marginata. I don't know why I said Alabama. Alabama marginata. Alabama margarita bettas. Let's see here. I mean, do you care if they get eaten? That's a weird question, but in the wild, you could have some little fish that could get eaten, like guppy babies, that probably would break up the tension. The fish would go after them if you're willing to spare them. Now, ethically speaking, I totally understand why they might not be a viable or preferable choice. I'm just saying, some people do use dithers that are actually like designed to food, so they get chased down, they get eaten, they keep the vicious fish full, and they also cull guppies and things like that, or endlers, or danios, or white clouds, or whatever it is that you have an abundance of. That being said, the danios are a good choice. Gouramis can sometimes hold their own, but again, they can end up hurting each other's fins, gouramis and bettas, if they actually do start going at it against one another. But the danios, like a kythit danio, is a nice choice. The Ascopai danio, the Lake Chinensis danio, panther danio, spotted danio, which also leopard danio, zebra danios are actually pretty good too. Now they will harass and eat baby bettas, though, wild baby bettas, the fry. But those are all not bad choices because they can move fast enough, and then they're big enough that they're not going to fit in the mouth. They can get nipped. I wouldn't get a long fin variety, but they don't do a ton of nipping of the bettas. So I would say danios are probably one of my top choices, followed by there's some like scissortail rasboras, or like jelly bean tetras, or reed tetras that also would work. But they may get chased by certain ones. Rachel, hello. Let's see here. Alex, do you still have your promo code at the Tampa Shrimp Farm? I do not. I have not had that actually for 4 years. That place closed down. All my discounts are through Aquatic Arts now, and that is well, actually, I think I still might have a discount code for. I don't know if it still works for Flip Aquatics. That's 4 years old. When I was working with Rob when he was just starting out at the new place, which is now the old place, which he's moving from, or moved maybe already from. Yeah, I've got the History Secret 15. If you haven't ordered from them in the last few months, they'll get you 15% off. Plus, it'll get you entered into future drawings and events that we're doing. And usually they kind of just keep an eye out for those orders that are from the channel. And it gives me a cut, a commission essentially now. And that's what I do a lot of the giveaways and prizes with, or I'll buy more gift cards from Aquatic Arts, and that's how I can give you guys back stuff. I would say Aquatic Arts, great place to buy stuff. Incredible, great breed stock quality, and also good quality of just fish to have. But I would wait until you need like $100 worth of stuff, because shipping is expensive. But we're going to have them on and actually talk about some of the cool conservation work they're doing. Because he's kind of, the owner, David, is, and also the guys who are the buyers, they're no longer going to be carrying any fish that are considered endangered. If the UN, or if like the World Wildlife Federation says that these fish are critically endangered, or I think, well, I don't know where they're going to draw the line, if it's going to be threatened or vulnerable. But for instance, some of the smaller rasboras right now, they've avoided listing them as threatened or vulnerable or critically critically endangered. There's endangered and critically endangered. So endangered, I guess, would be the level that they would be. And there's some that are in that category. They should be listed that way now, but they're not doing it because their local governments are fudging with the numbers and saying, well, we don't know that they're not in other water systems. We just know that they're in 2 water systems. That doesn't prove they're not in all of our water systems, even though no one's ever seen them in the other ones. So there's some things going on, and a lot of the smaller things also out of Myanmar. I've warned you guys a bunch of times with the civil unrest going on there. Whether it's CPD wild genes, if you can get your hands on something that's a wild CPD gene, or from the wild genes, and that's been kept by a good hobbyist, and kept diverse and healthy, get your hands on them. They're going up to $10 a pop. I mean, at one point they got down to $3.99, $4.99 a pop, and then the genetics just dropped. The bottom fell out of celestial pearl danios, and they need to go recollect, but there are people with guns and explosives hanging around where they live. I went away and now I'm back. Let's see, what else do we got going on? I was just watching some wild betta collection videos from Vietnam this morning. I know, isn't that cool? Hillbilly Aquatics, hello, kind all night. Your aquarium, how did you get into knowing fish history? Are you in a profession related to historical keeping or knowledge, or is it for fun? So I have a degree in history, and that is in Middle Eastern and North African, post-colonial specifically, so kind of more like World War I till now. That's kind of like social, it's kind of like sociology also, you know what I mean, if it comes into now. But so I wrote like my history paper. My thesis ended up getting way off track, and I wrote about Somali piracy. And it was my thesis ended up getting way off track, and I wrote about Somali piracy. And it was before any of the U.S. ships had been taken yet. So it was kind of an interesting time, and that was kind of what the paper was on, was like, are they going to try this with the Western cultures, or are they just doing this with like China and Southeast Asian cultures and a few weaker European nations that don't have the strongest navies and stuff? And then it also looked at what the clan culture, the 5 main clans of Somalia, and what that meant for the development of their, as they called it, Navy or Coast Guard, the Somali Navy, which actually did legitimately start to fight Chinese ships from fishing with giant 2-mile, 3-mile long trawler nets that would just scrape the bottom. And then also European and U.S. ships were dumping X-ray equipment from the 1960s and 70s, like when it would be old and they'd have these expensive contracts to get rid of it. There was actually a big, and it was uncovered, it's not like a secret, but there was a big connection to the American mafia, and then the Gomorrah and the, what's the other one called, in Italy? There's the Gomorrah and the Omerta's their code. I can't remember. But in any case, 2 of the organizations, the one in Naples and then the one in Rome, 2 organized crime groups, really organized in throwing away radioactive waste off the coast of Somalia because it was considered international waters after the Suez Canal and the that area there. But then if you just went into Somali waters, they had no navy. Their country had fallen apart. So that's where I wrote my paper about, was about like that, and it ended up being this super long paper that they're like, oh, that you can get your master's now. Like, this should be your master's thesis. Well, during that time, I'd also gone and gotten credits. I basically didn't want to go to high school anymore. And so when I was 16, I started going to community college classes. They let us do that for free, which is cool around here. So I came into college with 2 years done, and then I ended up taking a full 4 years for my undergrad. But I got two undergrads, and then my archaeology, which archaeology is usually always a master's degree, but you need to get a cultural anthropology degree first, which I did in Coast Salish or native North American tribes of the Pacific Northwest, specifically my area. And then that kind of overlapped also studying Oxycontin addiction and reservation life. And I wasn't sure which way I was going to go. I was thinking about maybe doing law. And then I got pulled back towards archaeology after taking some geology classes at the behest of a teacher that I looked up to. So I guess a little bit of everything is on the channel from some of my backgrounds because it overlaps a lot. And then the archaeology I did was mostly Native American prehistory, quite literally, so pre-written history, when oral tradition's the only thing present, and physical cultural material. So, yeah. Let's see here. What do I use to deworm my pea puffers? Levamisol. With pea puffers, with with puffers in general, and with like any benthic fish, any bottom loving fish that's going to eat and sleep and roll around and live on the bottom, you want to use something pretty heavy. Now, levamisol can kill things. It can like dehydrate the lining of the stomach of your fishies if you overdose it. But if you use it right, it's just a very powerful dewormer that works very effectively, and will knock things out that other things can't. Um, Although I'll also use fenbendazole or flubendazole first sometimes, but like with a pleco, if it were wild caught, or a new woodcat, for instance, or a puffer, I kind of go for the big guns right away because I've had them bring in some nasties before, and I just don't want to deal with that again. Let's see here. Do. Hey, redfish, bluefish, what's up? Thanks for the visit, amigo. Oh, of course, of course. Alyssa giving tech help. Man, you're always on the ball. Let's see here. Yeah, Omerta's code of silence. Did anybody come up with there's the Gamora, and then there's it's gonna bug me, the other mafia in, La Cosa Nostra. Duh. Sorry, guys. Spent a year researching this crap. And then in Somalia, the other crazy thing that happened, like I happened to be studying interesting things for the time. There was both the Oxycontin epidemic. Watch, this is going to get demonetized now. Um, in fact, I know it is probably, like, this just did it. But we were talking about how that was so bad on the reservations nearby. 64% of people, when anonymously tested on one of the reservations, tested positive for opiates. Not of adults, of people over the age of 12 when they randomly did an anonymous test, of 12 all the way up to 100 years old. 64% that day, random day, tribal elders said, come in, you're getting tested. 64% tested positive in 2005 when I was up there. So it was just, I mean, they wrote articles in the New York Times about this specific reservation. The life expectancy was 38 years old for men. I mean, suicide and things were really high. And then for my thesis in the Somali thing, I actually talked to, and now I'm real going to get demonetized, but the one of the press leaders of a group called Al-Shabaab that was not well known at the time until they went to a mall and decided to kill a bunch of people that were innocent and do awful, awful things. They were already doing bad things and training militants in the area, but they were kind of off the radar of the U.S. Minds. But in a post 9/11 world, they kind of became public enemy number one, right behind, well, number two, right behind bin Laden. So I actually had, it went from being able to call these guys on the phone and talk to their press agent. They were a real attempt at a Coast Guard or a rebuilding of the Somali infrastructure and government, to they're hiding because they're getting, drone striked, and rightfully so, in my opinion. But yeah, kind of a crazy thing to have like a source in a paper. I should go get, I should list the papers in case anybody, I've been asked a few times, so I should go get the papers or dig them out. I definitely have them saved. I just don't remember. They're published through the university, and only one's in a journal out of my 4 papers that I published. So I wasn't anything special. But it was interesting. Let's see here. All right, guys, I'm seeing things slowing down a little bit. I'm slowing down a little bit. Let's see here. Yes, the tomato crabs are freaking adorable. And all the little crabs at Aquatic Arts that they've been posting in their invert section. Holy cow, they are so cute. Super Mumbles, holy cow, caught a live stream. You caught him. You caught me. Crikey, you got one live. Let's see here. Gamora is a fantastic show, says Alashon. Actually, Gamora, yeah, there was a movie. I don't know if you saw that before, but the movie was phenomenal. I really liked the movie. It's real dark and depressing and, right up my alley. It's very Martin Scorsese of Naples. And I was in Naples around the same time, and I was like, wow, is this place really like that? After we watched the movie, I was like, I thought it seemed pretty nice. In any case, I'm sure any big city, over 1 million people or whatever, there's parts that are awful and then there's parts that are fine. In any case, I wish the chat would scroll organically for me. That would make this whole experience much, much better. Robocop plecos, they're not plecos, they're actually auto-synkless. But yes, the auto-synkless Robocop is a badass little orange guy. Love him. Kind of looks like Slave One, if you guys got a deep Star Wars reference. Boba Fett's ship. Kind of looks like that thing. It's a little catfish, kind of like an anchor catfish. But yes, its real Latin name is Robocop. It is a auto-synkless Robocop. And they're cool. They're easy to take care of. They'll eat algae diatoms, and they'll eat flake food or whatever's sitting around. So yeah, and I appreciate y'all in the chats, all mods. Looks like y'all are working out whatever needs to be worked out. I have not bred them though, by the way. FK, I stepped on Legos. Oh, I hate stepping on Legos so much. I don't even have kids. It's me, the dummy, who leaves Legos out. If my wife has her friends with kids over, I'll bring out Legos or Connects, or I don't know. I got some of the stuff from when I was a kid, and we just have it in the house, like coloring stuff for when our friends with kids come by. But yeah, I'm always the dummy who leaves those out. You know what might be worse than Legos is goldfish crackers, and I step on those far more often. And yet again, my fault. I'm an adult. I know it's my fault. There's not children throwing goldfish crackers everywhere. It's me. I'm the child. So yeah. But yeah, I haven't bred the RoboCop fish. I just love that they're called RoboCops. I want to know the story behind the Latin name, and I can't find it. And I want to know what's going on with that name. Let's see here. Yeah, Alyssa says, I wouldn't keep Elastomas in less than a 2.5 gallons unless you have just one. Then a 1 gallon would do you all right. Yeah, I kind of agree in that I have kept them in 2 gallons. I've kept them in 1 gallon bowls. If you have a pair that successfully spawned and seems to get along, I've had it work. It's okay. Their babies aren't going to make it, though. If you want to actually have a successful colony, definitely get 2 or 3 gallons. If you haven't tried them together yet, then I would definitely, give it a gallon of fish until you understand how they're going to work, at least. A 5 gallon is a real small tank still, and actually huge for elastomas in some ways, and in other ways, if they all hated each other and you had 5 or 6, they'd still probably be okay. So I totally agree with what Alyssa's saying, and she is very well versed in the elastomas too. All right, let's see here. Alec Kumanoff says levamisole is illegal to sell, use, or recommend in California. People should be careful when using it. I would use fenbendazole first or general cure. Yeah, we kind of have the same law up here, except you can buy it online. You can get it from a vet, or you can get it from a store if they are trained as a vet tech. Also, you can buy it wholesale, but I don't think you're supposed to sell it retail if you have that ability to buy it wholesale. But yeah, there's some weird rules around it here. You can also buy it on eBay. I'm not saying you should, but pharmacies and things do sell it. Granger Supply Companies is where I've always gotten it. But yeah, there are weird laws around it in every state, so check into that. I don't want to cause anyone to get into trouble. And then act accordingly with your own tolerance for risk and the like. Alex, what color do-rag are you going with next? You know, I like these well, my wife bought these. I like them because, like, if I'm getting sweaty, hot, if I'm working in the fish room or whatever, I can put my hair back in them. But then also, when I go to the store, I always forget my mask, even still. And in our state, we definitely still have to have the mask. And so that way, it's also the mask. It's on my head. It's around my neck. And I don't think about it. It's also really light. These are pretty almost pointless as a mask. But I'm vaccinated or whatever, so I don't really care. I've done my part. I quit. I'm over it. But next color, I don't know. She bought like 14 of them for like $10 off of some dumb QVC thing. So probably whatever color. I just steal a lot of things from my wife. Yeah, that's where I get a lot of my clothes. A lot of my band T-shirts and stuff. She'll get one, and I'll be like, can I get one? And then she'll come back, and it'll be my size, and then she'll be like, you know what? I actually didn't want one. But I take her headbands or nail polish, all that stuff, just to bug her. Have you kept RoboCop oh, wait, what? I just read that. Come on, chat. Why is that loading as new? That is starting to go nuts. Let's see here. All right, one more try at... Oh, we got another new member. Step right up. FKI step... Oh, FK is how I'm going to say it, even though I know that's not what's going on in there. But I stepped on Legos. Lurker, welcome. Right on. Thank you so much for the support. Check the community tabs. Now you got lots of crazy research papers. And when someone's like, well, I think this... on Facebook, actually Twitter's the most toxic place on earth, but you can be like, well, I know this, boom, and drop the citation on them. That's what we're about here, is the citation of knowledge, not just the, well, in my opinion, even though I just gave you a bunch of in my opinions. But it's nice when you can drop the boom citation on people, right? So let's see here. I heard Charles Muller that those RoboCop autosyncless never do well in captivity. Doesn't know anyone who's bred them and says they usually die. Passion fruit. I've had one for a year. They live 2 to 3 or 4 years. I don't know for sure. So I didn't know how that was. It didn't seem to die of sickness or anything. It just seemed to kind of be lazy and never moved, never did much of anything. But it looked cool. But it's kind of like, Farawalla or the twig catfish, banjo catfish. There's a lot of different catfish. There's like all those weird ones that aren't really in the hobby that are like flat leaf catfish. You know who just did a story on one is Primetime Aquatics. His 5 weirdest looking fish. His number 5 on the list was it, and I'm spacing on the name, but it looks like a leaf. It looks like Jabba the Hutt or dog poo in a little pile, and a leaf had a baby, and then it was a fish. It looks like a saltwater fish more than a freshwater fish. But yeah. So those, what was my point about that? Oh, it's hard to know like what their lifestyle is like. They're hard to follow in the wild. They live in murky water and they're hard to like scuba or snorkel with or anything. Not gonna tag them, they're little. So it's just hard to know for sure, like if they're happy, if they're flourishing, like how long they should live. A lot of little fish just don't live that long. So I would say if they live a couple years, that's good. But I have heard from Aquarium Zen, I do recall the owner saying that he had some order issues when they'd come from Asia. However, when they came from in the US, there were no issues with them dying on delivery to the store. It was just when they came a long journey. But results may vary, you know, it's different. So I don't know. Could be different sources, could be different lines. One could be a wild caught, one could be some sort of, you know, because the other thing is just because they haven't figured out how to breed successfully in captivity, like naturally speaking, there are chemical means triggering that cycle. And sometimes there's some fish that are kind of being bred that way outside the U.S., specifically more often than in the U.S. Triple J Aquatics, hello. Well, I think I'm gonna get out of here, you guys, but I appreciate all of your lovely faces, handles, and characters. You're all characters. So thank you so much for joining me. I think I'm going to pass out now. I didn't sleep much last night, and then Bentley picked me up at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then we talked fish all day till 5, whatever, almost 6. And we're still talking fish, and that's fine. I can keep talking fish, but I think my voice it's getting deeper and deeper, like it's just gonna go away at some point. So yeah, but thank you guys. Great questions tonight. Nice chat. Good hustle. Go Wildcats. Put your hands in. You know. Woo! And stay tuned for the next crap I put out. All right, guys. Have a awesome day. I hope you enjoy the sunshine in the Northwest. NW Aqua Hobby, it was nice to meet you in person, man. I'm gonna have to harass your brother, by the way. I haven't talked to him in a while. Nano Aquarium guy, thank you. Super Mumbles, thank you. Dragon Lair, thank you. Super Chats, all y'all, thank you. And moderators, thank you. If you guys we have so many entrants in the aquascaping contest, it's all people that I recognize pretty much. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think we're going to learn from each other. I'll probably do some tips and tricks videos, and then I said I was going to make a playlist of some aquascaping stuff that I've done over the last 5 years, and I still intend to do that. I just haven't gotten to it because I was in the car all day talking about fish with Bentley. All right, guys. I will talk to you later, and again, I just can't thank you guys enough for the positivity, the thoughts, the questions, the learning, the teaching me things. I appreciate it. So, a wundervoll evening, and I will bid you adieu, farewell, and auf Wiedersehen.